Some women are simply born rich, confident, and naturally magnetic to their desires. Let's be clear, this podcast is not for them. However, if you're a soul-driven, visionary, or entrepreneurial woman who's been on a mission to learn how to create a better future bursting to come out of you, welcome to my world. I'm Jo Warwick, and this is Rich, Sexy, and Free. I've dedicated most of my career to helping women get to their core power and unlock the missing pieces for their own unique success. You may already know me as the author of The Big Book of Love. With 30 years experience in psychology, embodiment, manifesting, and energetics, we will be exploring together the keys to becoming rich, sexy, and free. So if this excites you, don't forget to like and subscribe on your favourite platform so you can stay up to date with the podcast. Hi. Welcome to Rich, Sexy and Free. And I'm Jo Warwick, and I'm so pleased that you're joining me today. So what are we diving into today? I want to talk about how I discovered that what I wanted was already in front of me, but I couldn't see it. What do I mean by that? Well, I have discovered that the place I wanted to live, all the points that I was trying to find, were already in front of my face, but I couldn't see it because I was inside a glitch. Now, this glitch was part of a season that worked for a really, really long time in my life and works really well as part of my life. And yet, when the behaviour we've outgrown and it doesn't fit anymore, it becomes a glitch. It becomes a glitch in the programming. And just like when you get a technical glitch on your computer, is exactly the same. A behaviour that we have outgrown that no longer serves us, and yet we're doing the same behaviour and expecting different results. So we've all heard that Einstein quote, it's insanity, but it's more than that. It simply was something that wasn't a survival mode, it was a thriving mode, but I've outgrown it. Now, for me, this was based on my home life and where I wanted to be, and I was seeking a new home. I've actually been travelling, I realised, non-stop for the last 5 years. I thought I had found places I wanted to land twice, but it wasn't right. And so what ended up happening was I ended up having these sort of interim places. After leaving Cornwall, I lived up in the Lake District, then I lived in Cambridge for a bit, but in all of that I was constantly house sitting, moving, travelling, because I always wanted to be a digital nomad. And so I was doing that too. And then when my dog died last year, I let go of having any desire to have a home and spent this last year just constantly travelling. But I realised, as a friend said to me, you've really just not stopped travelling for the last 5 years since you left Cornwall. And she was right. I haven't really stopped. I was so busy seeking a new home, a connection, and the life I thought I wanted. Now, over the 5 weeks I was travelling around France, where I really thought this was where I wanted to be, I started to make a list of all the things I wanted. And it became very, very clear to me as I dropped in more and more that as I was landing and choosing to be here, not just here, but here in this planet, here in my body, here in the life that I wanted, here in this experience, here, I realised I was ready to land. I wasn't seeking, and the veil dropped. And that's what I want to talk about, is how we move from the glitch of the program to the veil dropping. We think we have to push through a problem to get to the solution. And really what the process of dropping the veil, dropping the lies and illusions, dropping the old experiences, but we cannot do that unless we are willing to in our body. Because the glitch happens because we are playing out a behaviour in our body, it's in our nervous system, and when we don't realise we have outgrown it. So what I thought was helping me, very soon I realised was hindering me, because it wasn't giving me the stability that I was seeking. I was seeking stability, but I was constantly moving. Now, I am Phoenix energy. I literally am a rebirth energy. I'm a Scorpio, I'm a projector. That means I'm always shedding my dead skin. I'm always raising and rising into new levels. But because I'm not an energy type, like somebody who might be a manifesting generator, etc. Majority of people are energy types. But what I do is shed skin. Now, this makes me very, very good at shifting in through transitions. And over my life, I have mastered these transitions, and the last 5 years have been an absolute mastery level. I've gone through my life PhD of how do I move through transitions, whether that's in my business, whether that's in consulting, whether that's in moving house, traveling, packing my bags, going to new places. For a lot of people, that would feel unbelievably unsteady. And if I said, I have realised I have moved well over 40 times in my life, and that's not including all of the short term. But what it's taught me is my capacity to do that is because I am so stable in who I am, but also because I have the right tools that enable me to shift from problem focused to solution flow. And I'm able to hold myself, ride my way through any transition. So, like riding a surfboard, and I often think of this as a surfer who rode for 17 years and also ride snowboards, body surfing, and all of those things. And it all started about riding horses, but balance how my ability to move through the external waves and transitions and upgrades. And this, of course, is what I teach. And I realized as I was reflecting back, I was thinking of how this has always been what underpinned my work, whether I was helping people shift from trauma into more confidence, more happiness, owning their own power, whether they were women stepping out of abuse or women who were stepping into happier, healthier relationships, if they were moving from a problem to a solution. And when I do consulting, that's exactly the same thing. But what I've been understanding is why we fall into these glitches when we're no longer coming out of those deep and heavy work. So when you've done the work, when you've done the self-love, when you've been looking at your trauma patterns, why do you fall into these repetitive patterns? And this is where I started cloning it as a glitch, because I knew in tech there's always these glitches. I knew in vehicles and cars you get glitches, you get moments when things just aren't working smoothly, the same as they do in electrical circuits. And that's what it really saw to me. It was no longer deep work that needed resolving. It was just these little glitches that were stopping the new cycle, the new program, the new way of being for fully embodying. So although that you have done the work and you know that you're stepping into a new season and you want it to land, that it can't land because you're still in this glitch. And this is what's been fascinating me and really landing for me over this last year. And I've been looking at what have I been using. So one of the things I've done is I've put together my absolute favourite EFT, emotional freedom technique tapping, that I've been using, the script I have been using for the last 3 years. And it evolved from a script that I was saying to myself over and over again, and I was integrating tapping, but I realized it was coming from this underpinning of always ease and grace, that I believe that transitions should be easy. When I was a kid, and my parents moved all the time. This wouldn't surprise you if I tell you this. No, I am not a army brat. My mum did not have a stable childhood, and so she was always seeking a home, which meant we ended up buying and selling houses as a way of them making money, upgrading their life. But it came with lots of movements, and it also meant not only homes, but I moved school a lot until I went to boarding school. I moved locations a lot. So I realized that over my life, I have perfected how did I handle those transitions. And some of them well, some of them badly, some of them I had to heal later on, but I did adjust. It was my ability to adjust. And then, of course, I went into being a therapist to look at some of these things. So I wanted to know how did I make choices that sort of like snakes and ladders, I went down the ladder instead of up the ladder. Now, what I'm really excited by and what I'm really interested in is working now with people who are like me, who are very much looking at, I go up the ladder, up the ladder, up the ladder, who are no longer in that trauma part. They've done the work, they've done the hustle. They're like, I'm so over being in hustle mode. I'm so over doing the trauma work. I've done that. They know they don't need to prove their worth anymore. But it's like, the glitch is still here. The glitch is still here, which is why I think it's so exciting and why I want to give you my EFT script. There's 2 scripts that you can grab. I call it my glitched gold EFT script. This is the exact script that I use and has created ease, grace, solution, upgrade. I've moved from mess to clarity, from problem to solution, from stuckness to flow. It's the thing I use no matter what the issue is, whether it has been about money, business, my home life, finding a home, traveling, when it's the smallest thing, I still use it. Smallest thing. If I find myself in a situation where if I was traveling and I get stuck at the airport and something has happened, usually I don't get it a lot because I'm very good at laying tracks. But when I come up against a glitch, I use it instantly. So it could be something like that to the other levels where I've gone around a cycle in those highs and lows of dips that can happen in business, in surfing. You don't look to play around in the whitewash. And when we believe that we have to stay in those highs and low peaks, it's like being battered around in the whitewash at the front in the waves. You get knocked around if you've ever been in that. When you learn to surf, you learn to paddle out back, you learn to listen and feel about how the waves are coming through and that they're clean, and you ride the best ones because we don't want a flat sea. Flat seas are boring. They're nice for a couple of days, but then you want the fun of some waves. You want your life is always going to have some waves, but it's how you perceive them. Your business is always going to have those movements and changes because we have people, and people are inconsistent. However much you love them, however much they're great, people are as inconsistent as fuck. And it's one of the things that, as someone who experienced trauma, learning that you cannot control things outside of yourself. And that is the greatest learning. When you have experienced trauma, when you have experienced abuse, you want to control everything to be safe. And so that's why so many people fall into drinking and smoking and alcohol and addictions, drugs, etc., because they feel like they can't control. And then you can become a control freak and do all of that behaviour. But when you recognise that you can't control other people, and I'm sure you recognise that, the only thing you can control is yourself, your own stability in your nervous system, in your mind, your body, and above all, your frequency, your energy. So a lot of the work you've probably been doing yourself is through your mindset and looking at your behaviour, but you're not realising you're in a glitch. And when we're in a glitch, we cannot see it, but we can feel it. And we start to feel the frustration that things are not happening the way that we want them to. They're not happening fast enough. We feel like we're getting stuck, like we're stuck in traffic. We may notice that we're someone who normally acts, who moves, who takes action. We're a leader. We're someone who steps forward. Instead, we're holding back. That's a glitch. We might find that we're repeating cycles that we thought we'd gone through and done. That's a glitch. It's not that you're doing anything wrong. It's not that you have to go through that cycle again. It's not karma. It's a glitch. And when we recognize it, it's like, no, I just need to iron this out. It's in a part of my system, my mind, body, energy, nervous system. It's in a part of that needs ironing out, it needs releasing. And that's all that needs to happen. So if this is interesting you, if you're perhaps having a little ding, ding, ding in your brain or your body, there's two ways, I can help you. Is one, go grab the EFT, my emotional freedom technique script, literally the script that I've been using that has just transformed my life and taken me to whole new mastery levels. And I have been tested. I have been tested. So I would definitely go grab that. And also, the masterclass is absolutely the ultimate masterclass, undercharged, the glitch, the ultimate masterclass, and part 2, which is the glitch redefined. Having a greater understanding of what is going on, why it's going on, how it's affecting you, and how to redefine it. That is where you want to shift from now, because you don't want to stay in the glitch. Why would you want to? It doesn't add you anything. It doesn't bonus you anything. It's not giving you confidence. It's not. In fact, it actually makes you feel like shit. Yeah. And eventually, yes, you could wait for divine timing, but divine timing is asking you to take action and change the glitch, because you will keep coming up against it if you don't. So it's not about deep, heavy work. It's about reprogramming, coming into solution. And that gives you such great confidence and empowerment when you do. So go ahead over and grab those 2 bits. There's also the last chance to grab the Radical 14-day reset that is available. It's on half price at the moment to the end of this week. So literally you've got this weekend to grab it at 50% off, which is a physical program that lines up so perfectly with the EFT. But all 3 of those things are perfect for you. But the understanding, you may not realize you're in a glitch, just as I did. I couldn't see it because I was playing out something that works so well for me, because it did keep me fresh. It's very important that I shed my skin like a snake. It's very important that I rise like a phoenix. This is important. I do this all the time. But it isn't necessary for me to move in the same way anymore. I'm ready to land again, but I had to face my own fears. But landing meaning, oh, I'm going to get stuck. That's not true. That was a lie and illusion. That was the other glitch that was keeping me going. And what was working for me when I was grieving in the last year isn't serving me anymore. And that's okay. It's exciting to realise it's okay to land again and have home and have community and be present so life can meet you. Because let's be honest, life is not a spectator sport. Now, I'm going to finish this on a little moment of just to say I had a very exciting chat today because I'm turning 50 in November. When I turned 40, I wrote a list of things I wanted to try and wanted to do, and I ticked them all off. And that included things like driving a racing car, Ferrari, beautiful red Ferrari, around Silverstone. And I drove very fast and had lots of fun and got an A+ for my driving. I also did indoor skydiving and I did lots of other things. It was very cool. But so today I had a very cool conversation about kite surfing. I've always wanted to do it. About kite surfing, and I've started writing my list for my 50th. So in this year, I'm going to go to Botswana. I'm going to do kite surfing and return to snowboarding because I haven't been able to do that since my knee op, and that is my aim for this season. And I also really, really want to go to a 3-star Michelin restaurant, which I've never done, or even a 4-star. Woof. So that would be really exciting. So if you have any other suggestions for my 50th this year, do drop them over at Instagram or Facebook at Rich, Sexy and Free. Get in touch, of course, but mainly head on over to richsexyandfree.com. Go and grab the EFT, go and grab the masterclass. Let's move these glitches to gold. Gold means solutions, results, excitement, expansion, new life, new energy, money, opportunities in your business, abundance. I think we all deserve that. Sending you much love, and I will speak to you next week on the podcast.
It's been great to connect with you today, but before you leave, if you want to find out more about how I can help you personally or check out any of my books, products or coaching packages, just simply go ahead and visit richsexyandfree.com. And I look forward to seeing you next week on the podcast.